All right, we're here for another review of Animorphs.
Number 8, The Alien, and number 9, The Secret. Yep.
All right, I gotta say, I can't wait for the next time we get Axe as a book with his perspective.
That first Axe narrated book, big event, and because he's a very big fan favorite.
Are you guys doing the Megamorphs?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Because this is the second narration he's done.
Yeah.
Technically it is.
I do agree though with the pop reader that his comparisons to terrestrial race objects kind of hinder what he's done in the Megamorphs books. He's making fewer comparisons this time, though he's still making mistakes like saying his homeworld is 1 billion miles away.
Yeah, well, that's a guesstimate, mate.
Yeah, it's more of a vague thing, meaning, it's
Of course,
very far away.
Might as well say it's a million, trillion, bazillion, billion miles away.
Yeah,
whatever made up number.
We also like the Stargate series, and they made the mistake there. How far is it, Lars? Several billion miles, O'Neill. More like several billion would work better.
Indeed.
So yeah,
$1 billion.
let's talk some plot, which is the main meat of number 8, The Alien, is that Axe is holding back information. And the big reveal, of course, is that the Andalites gave the Yeerks advanced technology. Now, they're the reason that the Yeerks are such a threat.
And why they're taking over Earth.
Yeah. That's
See, I gotta dig through my memory files.
a lot of what I like about number 8, The Alien, is these little tiny moments, like where they give Axe a world almanac to read about Earth, and of course his feeding frenzies.
Oh yes, that is one of my favorite things about Axe. Because if you know the Andalites and how they feed, they don't have mouths, so they don't really have a good sense of taste. So when he goes into his human morph, it's just like this whole new world for him.
It's like eating pizza for the first time.
I can't even remember that.
Mate.
And at the beginning of the book, this is where they went to go see Star Trek, right?
Yeah. Clearly,
Was it Star Trek or was it like a B movie?
they do mention a Klingon, so it has to be either Next or First Contact.
And that's where he had one of his first feeding frenzies. There's like all this food that was like dropped on the floor, and he's just like, nom, 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 nom.
They did a pretty good rendition of this in the TV series.
Oh yeah,
Really?
They did. Yeah, I'll say it again. The actors and the music are one of the bright points of that series.
Yeah, and then it went downhill quite steadily. But that particular scene was played well. And it's one of those that you sort of remember going forward. It's not that special reading it on the surface, but it's one of those that you just sort of remember.
Yeah.
The brown globules.
Globules, yes.
Globule. Do you say globules or globules?
Either works. Yeah, but,
it's one of the, you can't sit on the fence here. You cannot sit on the fence on this one. I'm not allowing that.
Ooh, and the big one is that Axe sets out to try and assassinate Visser 3, and we get a few brief moments from his host body, a Lorne Scimitar Karas.
He's a bit of a knobhead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Spoilers, everyone.
Oh, I didn't even hear what you say.
I said he's a bit of a knobhead.
Knobhead? I don't know.
A knobhead.
Oh, you did say
you're not British enough, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, well, he has his own story arc that we're gonna see eventually in due time.
I like that gave us a little bit more black and white with the Yeerks.
Yeah, and especially since the Andalites are the reason the Yeerks are the way they are, and that the Yeerks actually do have something of a loyalty to one another.
Not much though.
Now,
In fact, wait. Where does this loyalty come in?
Because this human controller his like the yurt that was in this woman that was like his girlfriend or whatever was killed by Mr. 3, so he helps Axe set out to assassinate him by giving him his feeding pasture.
When do we actually? I forget when we learn about Yerk reproduction. I believe is it in?
I think it's number 19, the departure. Yeah.
I think it might be, yeah. So we don't actually learn about how that works. It almost makes it seem as if it's, you know, your typical bloke meets bird sort of storyline. But actually not quite like that.
They do to some degree like to go take on some aspect of their hosts. But I think Animorphs makes it a bit more distinct in how the Yerks do it. You know?
By the way, guys, I just want to take a quick tangent and say today is day one of me having a proper 90s denim jacket on. I'm emulating the show right now.
Right on.
This is my wife hates it. She finds it absolutely disgusting. But you know what? Women don't matter.
Yeah. Oh, what was I going to say is, and number 9, The Secret.
Not even a shock response. Okay.
And
let's carry on.
Yeah, number 9, The Secret. The Yerks are setting up logging in the forest to try and go andalite hunting.
Stupid plan.
Well,
probably one of the worst.
Because the Andalites live in the forest, so if we cut the forest down around, we'll find them, and they won't be able to hide. That's basically
because the forest is a total dead end. It's nonsense.
I did bring up, even as we were reading it, the fact that the Andalites could probably just, if they were Andalites, could just infiltrate human society and get hotel rooms, which is something they could do for Axe, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Bias.
Yeah, I don't see what Vista 3 was. It was a silly book, but it was actually quite a good book as well.
Yeah, but Vista 3 always has these super villain plots of the week.
Yeah, it's why it gets quite frustrating quite quickly.
Especially
as an adult reading the series.
Mm-hmm.
How about Cassie's questioning her philosophical beliefs in this book? How about that?
Yeah, because there's several moments where, like, you know, when they morph the termites and she takes out the queen.
And she compares herself to a Yerk.
And then she also deals with, you know, it's implied that Tobias took one of those baby skunks.
Yeah, it outright said that he actually ate one of those skunk kits.
So it makes her question a lot of things. Like you said.
It was a very good book. It's just a shame about the plot.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Plus there's, as Paparina said, opening book shenanigans. I mean, in this book, it's the fact that they're trying to get Cassie from a D grade up to a passing grade, and there's these mice.
It's like, Rachel shouldn't have morphed into the mouse.
Yeah, I should have kept her around as a lookout.
Like, that was a mistake. Like, because not only they got their lives endangered, but the little poor rodent that they had, they never saw it again.
Yep.
Got away and lived in the school.
I mean, and also, I should bring up, I said this as we were reading, that there's a little bit of they call it a castle, K-A-S-K, screws up, is
K-A-S-U.
talking about the shields, and that they have transponders that will let them pass through because it's tagged to their DNA. Except at the end, it will seem like they'll be trapped outside the field if they turn on the shield. So what is this?
Yeah.
Like I said, number 8, The Alien, though, is in my top 10 list of Animorphs books. It's very solid read, a very good insight into Axe and his people's culture. Like, we see these morning rituals that he goes through. And,
oh yeah, where he goes in front of the water and puts his hoof in it.
And we even get to see the opening space battle that began before Alfangor landed.
Oh, I hate it. I did not like that bit.
You did?
Really, you didn't?
No, I hated that bit.
Any reason?
It just came across as so tropey and Hollywood cliche sort of thing. Nah. When Axe's last words to Elfangor are, "Go burn some slugs," it's like fucking cringe, man. Come on.
that does sound very. It sounds very, very theatrical Hollywood.
I would say the same thing. Based on a character who's coming up in the Andalite Chronicles, I've had similar feelings. It's like these feel like human types of humor that it's like, why should Andalites be doing that? So I get it, you know.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, you want Andalites to be more stoic and Spock-like, like that.
You
no, it's not to talk like they're freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. I want them to talk a bit more alien.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't have the same tropes as we would.
Yeah. Yep, true.
Yeah, I can see how that can ruin the immersion.
Oh, yeah. But as they say, que sera, sera.
How about the chili scene where Cassie takes him in to eat chili and they do that for
Oh, yes, another one of his feeding frenzies.
Yeah, funny thing is in the TV series, it was to Marco's dad. I mean, it's not something worth raging about, but it's confusing why they did that. You know what I mean? Really.
Wait, which bit are you talking about?
Number 8, the alien. Remember where Cassie takes Axe and Jake Morph into her family's house?
That is one of the best scenes.
Yes.
Yeah. That was.
How does the temperature created during nuclear fusion?
That was.
Do you remember when you could only ask or answer yes or no?
Yes. No. Yes. No. Your friend. No.
That was a bit cliche, but apart from that, yeah, pretty damn enjoyable.
Yeah, he just accidentally moves human science ahead by a century because he thinks it's a video game for children.
Oh, it's a game. Why do I imagine him making some sound like that as he's doing the thing?
That's the sort of thing his TV show would have personally would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking about because you know, if you've ever seen Short Circuit, I remember Johnny. He made a sound as he was flipping through like the encyclopedias. I guess that's what I'm kind of thinking of.
I can't even think of what that is.
1980s movies about robots. Satan robots.
It's not the Chi, is it?
No.
Oh wait, no, I can't spoil.
Oh, no, don't worry. You didn't give context.
Iron, this is your fault. You can't be doing this sort of stuff, man.
Yeah, it's okay. You didn't give it any context. He does know there's a race called the Chi. He just doesn't know who or what they are.
Are we talking about the same bunch?
Yeah, but
They're cheeky sods.
of course he knows Chi as Leland Chi.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, whenever I hear Chi, I always think of the guy from Lucasfilm, Leland G.
Of course, I've read Animorphs for so long, I can't help but think of anything but the Chi from Animorphs. So yeah, let's see what else to talk about. Books.
So, I think this is Cassie's introduction book. This should have been book. If it weren't for Axe arriving, this would have been book 4.
Yeah, it's like the second book for Jake and for Rachel and even Cassie feel like more of a proper entryway into the characters. You know, same for Axe.
Yeah, especially with the stuff they did with her.
It was very much like this is who this character is book, because 4 just didn't have that for Cassie.
Yeah, it was just the mystery around this Andalite signal.
Because they had to get Axe. They had to get Axe in quite quickly, so I suppose it's understandable in that sort of way.
Plus, it's not.
So it was basically in a sort of weird way Acts point 5.
Do you think it would have been if they'd have swapped books? So you swap books 4 and 9. Do you think that would have worked better?
Actually, I think it could have been interesting to do that.
Because then Axe has a greater impact. Because by the time 4 comes around, you've been on like basically 1.5 missions roughly.
Yeah, you couldn't have book 5 then, the Predator, because they were building that Z space transponder to try and get him back into space. Remember?
Yeah, what I'm saying basically is it would be seeing the Animorphs work as just the 5 human kids, one of them turned Hawk, and seeing how they struggle for 8 books.
Yeah, that would have been.
Then 9 comes around and you got a new character, and it's like, okay, so we've found all these problems occur in the first 8 books. Now we've got someone who can solve that. Rather than in book 4, when what missions have they had?
Yeah.
Book 1 is expository. Book 2, the mission is let's sneak into Chapman's house, and book 3 is there's a tanker. So that's basically the extent of the missions they've had at this point. They haven't really tested their limitations to this point.
Yeah.
So it would have more impact if Axe was introduced about 5 or so books later.
I could imagine how he'd react if he learned they had destroyed the Kandrona before he came aboard. I mean, he participated in it, but that should have been against his people's super secret Andalite customs, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that could have been interesting. Like you are destroying the ground-based Kandrona. I had not thought such capabilities would be possible from a group of human children.
And I always love how we have that be his voice when we read it.
Yeah, his voice? I wasn't a great fan of it when I first heard it in the TV show.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the actors are very good. It's just they got wasted on a bunch of silly plots and very poorly realized concepts.
Yeah, it was pretty grim. Apart from that, they're both solid books. It's better than Book 7 and Megamorphs, because those, to me, are the 2 worst books of the first 10.
Yeah, it's
that sort of era. It's nice to get back on track, really.
Yeah. And where do you stand on number 11, The Forgotten, without like spoilers? Because I know you're probably gonna like number 10, The Android. I like it too, but I also like number 11, The Forgotten. And, but
Book 11 is fun.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Plus, it's like a cake book. It's pretty soon in the near future, we're going to be coming up on Tobias. We haven't seen him in a while, number 13, The Change. Because it's been a while, like a year in universe.
Number 13 is freaking awesome.
Oh, yes.
That's the next. No, number 10.
Yeah,
the next great.
Then number 11, The Forgotten. Number 12, The Reaction. And number 13, The Change. Yes, great stuff. Iron's just he's been really looking forward to advancing these stories a lot lately. And it's not hard to see why. They're finally hitting their stride. Even when they were making plans to take Axe to the movies, they were like a well-oiled fighting force, putting out plans and contingencies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that reminds me. I read somewhere recently. I think it might have been on Hirak de l'Est or somewhere like that. Somewhere it said that KA, by this point, by book 9, was struggling for ideas.
Oh, I could see that, trying to find something new and fresh, but you'd never know it, would you? You'd never know it.
I think it was this book.
Maybe it was number 19.
No, it was much earlier than 19.
Yeah. I see.
I'm pretty sure it was this one.
I've heard elsewhere she only wanted it to be 20 books or maybe less than that. So, yeah, I could see that.
She only wants. Where did you read that?
I don't know
Yeah,
why.
where did you find that? I mean,
It was years ago. I think it might have been an unsubstantiated rumor that she was going to end it after number 26, the attack. But I just don't know. Like that she wanted to just be the first 2 dozen.
But mate, if she'd have done that, we'd have never gotten book 37, The Weakness.
Yeah, I see why you hate that. I I hear you. I hear you. But we'd also never gotten the Elements Chronicles, and I really like that.
Ellen's Chronicles is pretty great.
We haven't even gotten to the first Chronicles book yet, but we're close. We're close. You know, and as like a Star Wars fan, I should naturally like it as a kind of prequel. You know what I mean?
And like Chronicles.
Yeah, they are like the prequels to the characters that we know. You know?
And like Chronicles is pretty cringe.
Yeah,
No, you don't agree?
I
It is pretty cringe.
well, I like
really.
Chronicles, but then I also like a lot of the books that people say are not so bad. I like number 24, The Suspicion, flaws aside. Yeah, but I really hate number 28, The Experiment.
I like them both. They're both good fun.
Yeah.
Well placed for being fun books as well.
Yeah.
It's after books. It's after about book 40 where those books become a bit too filler.
Yeah.
Where it sort of gets to the point where like we're coming towards the end of the series now. We don't need any more filler.
Yeah. And some of the plots Mr. 3 comes up with are just, it doesn't feel like they do anything to the point the Animorphs didn't even have to get involved, you know? That's what it feels like at some points.
Say that all again, sorry.
It feels like some of Mr. 3's plots wouldn't accomplish much if he had actually succeeded, so that it doesn't feel like the Animorphs have to get that involved. Like, I'm thinking of number 25, The Extreme.
That was a strange book. That was the first ghost written book.
Yeah, but I was never able to tell that when I was younger.
I like the Extreme.
I do. But at this point in the series, the Animorphs at least have more than a few their shares of victory. They blew up the supply ship, they destroyed the Kandrona, they took out the Veli, and they stopped the Yerks here and there. They're going to have a lot more accomplishments as time progresses.
Yeah, they're slowly getting their victories.
Yep. I mean,
Would you rate these two as big victories from what they've done so far? So books 8 and 9.
It's still feels kind of minor.
I mean, basically they just put the scare on Visser 3 instead of actually succeeding in killing him. And they destroyed your plot that probably wouldn't have affected them in the end anyway. All it would require is compromising their principles, which I know they don't like to do, but they might have just had to break into stuff and get access to a hotel room if they'd won.
Do you think he should have offed Visser 3?
You know, I'm going to say no.
You know, it feels like that should happen in like a bigger book.
Yeah, because at that point, Visser 1 would probably come back. You know, and Visser 1 is, well, little we've seen as a definitely more dangerous opponent because Visser 3 makes horrible mistakes and he intimidates his own underlings. Whereas Visser 1 is cool and calm and calculated, you know?
And a bit of a psychopath.
Yeah.
Which is, right, this is a good book to look forward to.
Oh, yes.
That's a long way off. That's a long way off. So don't get too carried away just yet.
Yeah, and totally misleading because I've at least shown him some of these covers and he knows that Visser has Visser 3's host body on it. And it's like, how did that happen? You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, oh, like, seriously. And it's like naming number 34 the prophecy when the prophecy doesn't even appear in that story.
What, say that part again.
That number 34 the prophecy is like naming number 34 the prophecy when there wasn't even a prophecy in that story.
Oh, now that's where we get into debatable territory.
Yeah, I guess we'll see that when it happens, huh?
Yeah, that's something I could argue with you about.
Yeah, okay. I look forward to your thoughts at that point then.
My thoughts are pure and of the Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah. Trying to think what else was in these books. There's where Tobias, each one skunk hits and then they save the rest, you know.
I love the baby skunks.
And Cassie sprays Homer.
Poor dog.
Oh, poor old. I don't know why did Jake bring Homer?
Homer actually followed him when he was not supposed to.
Yeah, but oh my God, why does that normally happen? Does Homer just follow Jake out into the middle of the woods?
Oh.
It just seems so weird, misplaced.
Yeah, well, my dog got skunked once. That was in the 90s. You really do. Tomato juice really is the best cure. You just have to leave them out there for days. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and Cassie seriously considered pretending to be some other skunk.
What did you?
She's like, yeah, that happened to someone else.
What did you make of that whole skunk kit storyline? With the whole, because that was a big part of it with Tobias and Cassie.
You go ahead.
Was there anything about it that particularly stood out to you?
Let's see, let me think. Well, again, that had to do with, her whole, like, struggle of,
her questioning her beliefs, but
yeah, the questioning of her beliefs.
I mean, I can't hold it against Tobias any more than I can hold it against Cassie. They both did what they felt they had to do, and it's kind of telling that in number 10, the android, he decides to keep the possum den off limits because Cassie says they're so cute. That's kind of fun.
Do you think there's a fundamental difference between their personalities?
Hey, yeah, I'd say so.
Like you said, like, this is where Cassie really started to show, stuff with her character.
Yeah.
But it's how it's different to Tobias, because Tobias he's the hardest one for me to relate to, because I don't know, I just don't feel like I get him as much as the others.
It may just be because he was the socially awkward, isolated, ostracized nerd picked on by the bullies who's daydreaming. And we've all met people like that, but then he's that kid who has the potential to snap and go on a shooting spree. We've seen that too often in recent years,
Tobias is the sort that would go on a shooting spree.
I think so.
I'd
say that's a bit much.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I'm reading book 1 again. I started reading book 1 again today, so I'm seeing. It's interesting reading where they will start out. So Tobias is completely unfit, apparently. He also has a bunch of bullies that go after him, and Jake just says he's just strange.
Wow.
Just a bit weird.
A shove between one aunt and uncle on the other end of the country who don't care about him.
Yeah. Well, that's basically how Jake describes him. He's strange. He's weird.
He's
He
kind
just
of
sort
like
of does things that, and he speaks all weird.
he's like Harry Potter with his aunt and uncle.
Potter.
Yeah.
I've been getting to Harry Potter again recently. That's what I did, the Hogwarts houses thing recently, which I enjoyed. And people disagreed with me, which I found disgraceful. Isn't it disgraceful when people disagree with me?
Yeah, because you're like the God King of opinions.
Exactly. Anybody who doubts me doesn't deserve life.
Yeah.
Probably a bit extreme, honestly. Opinions I give are not my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's interesting is this early in the series is all the continuity errors that we're getting. You know, like with war with the Horkbit here that they mentioned in number 8, the alien, and how the Yerks got their technology, which doesn't gel with what we see later, but it's, you know, it's laying the foundation in an interesting way, at least. You know what I mean?
Which part are you talking about specifically?
Uh, well, you remember in number 8, the alien, they said the Horkbit here had an all-warring clock that set them to fighting every 60 years, like the Ozzy or something.
But wasn't that retconned in the reissues?
Yeah, I think it might have been. I never saw the reissues. I just prefer my old school books. Continuity errors and all.
That's one of the things I'm doing in my reread is finding out every single bit that they changed. And there are a couple of interesting ones in there.
Like how Jake actually thought speaks in his human body without a morph. You know,
I haven't got to that bit yet. I'm on that. I'm about to start that very chapter. I've read up the part in the construction site.
This means you're going to get to see the epic kitty that Sean likes so much. Fluffer McKitty.
I love Fluffer McKay so much.
My cat's name. One of my cats is named after Fluffy McKitty.
Perfect. Perfect.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
She is lovely.
Lovely.
No, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm getting to the bit where that happens, but the only changes I've noticed so far, there's a couple of strange ones, which are, there are a couple of quotes that says, "Oh, we saw this on Star Trek."
Yeah, well,
and that's a couple of times, but in the reissue, it just says, "We saw this in Star Trek."
You know, if I was doing the reprints,
like, oh, that's a very specific.
If I was doing the reprints, you know what I'd do? I'd actually ditch the Star Trek references because, let's say, mid to late 2000s, Star Trek was in a decline. It was on the way out. I'd bring up the Stargate show like, this sounds like a plot on Stargate SG-1. I'd have them actually say that. Because it's almost the same premise with the parasitic Goa'uld ruling hosts and stuff like that. You know, the underdogs.
That's true.
Nah, I think they should put like Red Dwarf there or something.
Red Dwarf would probably work too. Or, yeah.
Red Dwarf is freaking awesome. There needs to be a Red Dwarf Animorphs crossover.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my list at some point.
Never seen Red Dwarf? Oh, mate, you missed out.
To be fair, I'd never seen Babylon 5 and Stargate until 2018, 2019. So it was a while. But it's probably a good series. Okay. Let's see, what else can we bring up from... There's not much you can bring up this early into the series, except trying to...
Yeah, still sort of doing the shenanigans. Still a little minor skirmishes. But they're slowly gaining those victories.
The question right now is whether Eric, who they've identified as Android already, is a good one or a bad one. And he's already handing out flyers for the sharing. So that's suspicious. What could he be? You and I know what he is, but I'm wondering how Eric Iron is going to react to that when the time comes. Of course, I like the pop culture references like Spider-Man, Batman, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Star Trek and Star Wars. They mention those all the time.
So have you? You've mentioned 10 a couple. Have you actually read 10 by this point?
We're started it, but we're not finishing it. We're at the point where they're infiltrating the lake.
Yeah, they're
Right. Okay. So you are actually in the book. So not spoiling anything. Talking about the chi.
Yeah, you would because he hasn't heard what they are yet.
Scumbags. That's what they are.
Well, I think we'll have a lot more to talk about when we do this next time because we'll have gotten 2 more down. Hack them off. So it's
Yeah, I'm interested to see what your opinions are of the chi as we progress through the series.
certainly
Because
when we finally get to that.
they are a disgrace to the human race.
Well, I may have different opinions, but we'll have to see when the time comes. What do you say? Is there anything else to talk about? Yeah,
That's really all that I could think of at the top of my mind.
Yeah, there isn't that much on these 2 books. It's
more
very surface level stuff going on.
Yeah, more of what
unless you delve into Cassie's character.
Yeah, more of what I call these little victories. Like they had these little victories, and they're soon going to grow to pretty big victories at some point. Big ones, very big ones.
Yes. Yeah, the next bit, there are big ones to come. 10 not necessarily being an example.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts, Iron?
I look forward to the continued growing of the story and
Your lore knowledge?
oh, what?
And your lore knowledge?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Any other final thoughts for anyone else?
Not with these 2. So that they're good books. I like them. If you really want to delve into Cassie's character, this is the first place to go.
Yeah, it
It's
really
largely
is.
introducing both Axe and Cassie, so there isn't too much to get your teeth into.
Plus, it's one of the better Axe books, I think, at least in my opinion. There's a lot of good Axe books coming up, but to be the first one is like the most magical.
It's probably one of the better ones. I think 38 is the best Axe book, though.
I can see why you would think that, though can't say why. So, seems like got that ironed out, and we'll be doing this next time, and hopefully we'll advance more at that point.
All right, we'll see you whenever we do another review of Animorphs.
Catch you later.